Good afternoon, I'm Chris Turley. Welcome again to our blog. You know, there are a lot of steps involved in effectively selling a home. And our job as a proactive real estate agent representing my client is to bring an energetic marketing plan to the table in getting that home sold. It's also to handle all of the paperwork, which quite frankly can be confounding these days. Secondly, to handle the issues that arise both from a legal standpoint and from a consumer standpoint. Now, there are also things that a seller have in their domain to get this job done effectively and have the best outcome for them. I call these things seller tools. Number one, obviously pricing your home correctly is important. You don't want to give money away that you could have had. You also want to make sure that you don't become the highest bidder on your own home and keep your home. You want to make sure the home gets sold. So pricing it correctly is important. Secondly, having a great fee structure, something that will incentivize agents to want to actually sell your home as opposed to one of the competition, clearly makes sense. Now, there's a third component that's extremely important in the process, and I call it the presentation that the seller has for their home. You know, when you're selling a home, I often comment to my sellers to be prepared that they're going to have to live almost a little bit unnaturally, a little bit fake it till you make it. They're actually going to be presenting their home for the purpose of having other people be attracted to it that might be different in the way they actually use the home or live in their home. So to help in that process, as part of the package I offer my sellers, I utilize the talents and the skills of a terrific person. Her name is Jessica Dolan. She's the owner of Room to Breathe, and she helps out with what we call staging the seller's home. So we've invited Jessica to come on in today. Thanks very much, Jessica.
Thank you, Chris.
Welcome aboard here again. Jessica's helped me on many transactions and I believe brought a lot of value to it. So I thought I'd let her speak a little bit about what she does, what staging actually is, and what value it can bring to the home, and maybe talk a little bit about some of the challenges that she's confronted, because I'm sure that there have been a few of those just in even the time I've observed. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you, Chris.
So Jessica, in your mind, how do you define staging?
Chris, I define staging as making a house sale ready.
Okay.
They often say there's a house for living and a house for selling, and they are usually not the same house.
Okay.
So I like to make a house appeal to as many buyers as possible so that you are more likely to get an offer from more than one person, and you're more than likely to get it quickly.
Well, that keeps most of my sellers happy, that type of a scenario.
Yes, it keeps everybody happy.
Fantastic. You know, regarding the value that staging brings to the seller, I guess from a financial standpoint, do you have any statistics, any way of quantifying that for people?
I do. Staging does not have to cost a lot. That's one of the biggest misconceptions, is people think that they need to do major repairs and renovations and updates, and that's often not the case. Paint is a simple, inexpensive way to make major changes to a home, and you will recoup that cost. Gosh, it depends on the situation, but sometimes you'll double what you put into a house.
Great.
Every situation's a little bit unique though in that. What I have found in 8 years of tracking our local statistics is the staged properties tend to sell in about 18 days or less.
Okay, fantastic. That's pretty astounding, given the fact that we're more in the neighborhood of 60 to 100 days to sell a home typically in our marketplace. So most of my sellers would really like to bring the process to a much quicker close.
And you know, when you talk about living unnaturally, the goal is to live unnaturally for a couple weeks or less.
Exactly.
Not for 60 days, because
Right.
that's no fun for anybody.
Right.
That's the goal.
Terrific. Okay, so things like painting obviously are important. Can you give us some other examples of staging?
Sure. The next biggest one would be decluttering and depersonalizing, making sure you're packing away family photos, kid artwork, collections of knickknacks or small items. Cleaning is another big one.
Okay.
Just a deep clean from top to bottom, and I mean everything. Tops of doorways, windows, whatever you can do. Landscaping is another biggie.
Okay.
Fresh mulch, nice clean edges on your beds, trees cut away from windows in the front of the house.
Terrific.
Those are some of the easiest, quickest ways to improve a property.
Okay, fantastic. All right, why don't we just take a moment and take a look at some before and after shots, examples
Sure.
of actual staging that you've done.
I think that would be great.
Is that okay? All right, let me just bring over our photographs here, and we'll share these with our audience as well. And you can tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
Sure. So we had a property in the borough, and we'll just say it was well lived in. Well loved, well lived in, great family.
Yeah, this was a great house. We just had the settlement on this house recently, correct?
Yes, this was a fun project. And in the big scheme of things, we did a lot of work, but it didn't cost a fortune.
Right.
You can see in this before picture, this was the office and could have also been another bedroom. But you kind of lost sight of the true charm of this home. You couldn't see the trim, you couldn't see the beautiful wood floors. So this is the before.
Right, your eyes are attracted to anything but charm here. It's more of the,
yes,
you know, kind of how the person was functioning in their office. Okay.
Nothing there is saying buy me.
Okay.
So,
okay.
And then you can see after we were done decluttering and packing away some personal items.
Whoa.
A little bit of painting. Same desk, same artwork that was in the room, but a completely different space.
Wow, what a transformation.
Yeah, and this allowed people to see it could be an office, it could be a bedroom, it could have been a TV room, a playroom.
Great.
You know, the possibilities were endless. Same property, again, well-loved home. This shot, just a little bit dreary, a little bit dark.
A little bit dated.
A little bit dated. Maybe a few too many pieces for the room. In this room, all we did, believe it or not, was paint and declutter.
Wow.
Same furniture, same table, same light fixture, everything was the same, just repurposed and painted.
Fantastic. And this did not cost a fortune?
No,
either.
you're talking, I think we were into a couple of $100s to pay professional painters and a couple hours of my time to pack away the personal items and rearrange furniture.
So you'll actually get in there elbow to elbow with a seller or do the entire process for them?
Yes, I prefer to.
Fantastic.
I find that's actually easier.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Right, and they don't have to go through the pain of do I keep this, do I give this to
Exactly.
a charity, do I give it to children? You make the decisions
Well, we can
with their blessing.
yes, and we can facilitate which charities need which items, and we really try to take things to their appropriate
Fantastic.
locations. So one other quick one from this house was they had a beautiful entryway, and when you entered the house, it was dark and dreary and crammed with bookcases. I'll be honest, the first couple times I was there, I never even noticed the beautiful archways they had until after we staged. And then I realized they actually had beautiful, charming curved
Wow.
archways, beautiful banister, and that was all just decluttering.
So you provided the opportunity for people to actually see what they were going to potentially be able to own.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Anything on the outside?
I do have the outside, yes. Here's a before. You can see some overgrown landscape.
Yeah.
Kinda
Little too mature.
Little too mature, yeah. And a front door that just didn't really call much attention to it.
Right.
You just drove by the house and didn't really take notice of it. After we did a little bit of landscaping, you can see that now the entire front of the house is exposed.
Oh, wow.
We removed although the front storm door was charming, it didn't give us the wow factor we were looking for.
Yes, so you highlighted the entry and you opened the house up.
We did. We also
Marvelous.
moved the house numbers from the storm door to above the front door so that every realtor every buyer could find the house quickly.
Fantastic. Well, those are great examples. You know, I thank you very much for sharing those actual examples. Any quick little stories or memories of things that you've run into that you found were really interesting or jump out at you when you think about your career as a stager?
I don't know how many are appropriate for this video.
Okay, all right.
Lots of stories. The biggest thing I can share though is that most sellers wait too long in the process to get started. It is never too early to start preparing your house for sale.
Right.
Meeting with a realtor to get some ideas on what can be done, where your house will list. You know, I use list price to gauge my budgets and what should be done for staging.
Sure.
So get started early. Do make decisions. If you know you're going to be selling in the next 3 to 5 years, you may want to make decisions on updates that are a little more neutral, maybe not as personal as you would do in a house you're staying in for a long time.
Sounds like a lot of common sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I can just tell you that my experiences, it has really enhanced the success that my sellers have had, you know, we have Jessica, we offer her services, the initial services as far as a consult. I purchase that for my client, and then they can choose almost a la carte how much they would like to get involved with Jessica's services beyond that. So thank you very much for telling us what staging is, what the value is, and taking the time to introduce yourself to a lot of people.
Thank you,
Thank you
Chris,
so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Okay, Jessica.